Wisdom traditions tell us that it is the false sense of separateness that fuels the delusions of ego. This mistaken separation has alienated us from the natural world and from our fellow creatures to such an extent that it now threatens our home planet and is tearing humanity's social fabric. Our separated selves have not only become unrooted from the present reality, they have lost connection to our origin and, judging by our disregard for the future consequences of our actions, have disavowed our own children and their children. These may be generalizations to be taken with a grain of salt, but the clamor of me first and mine, not yours, is audible everywhere. The mistake at the heart of this estrangement is in believing that we are separate beings, because each of us is, after all, an individual. But individuality is simply an aspect, albeit a necessary aspect, of human functioning. It is not the foundational reality. That no man is an island is increasingly clear, as science recognizes living systems as interdependent networks. Systems theory, for example, views organisms not as separate entities, but as contingent webs of dependencies. And quantum mechanics has established that the evidently concrete world is actually a field of potentials, constantly in flux between being discrete particles or continuous waves. In a similar way, human beings are both individuals and the collective web of interdependencies without which survival would be impossible. But clearly, that is not how most of us experience things. We feel ourselves to be and behave as though we are freestanding entities. One way to address this idiosyncratic fabrication is to continually find an optimum balance between belonging and separateness in whatever situation we are in at the moment. We might call this balance the sweet spot on the continuum of identity. Identity is an essential feature of human experience. It enables us to interact effectively in our families, workplaces, social groupings, and so on. But identity is not at core who we are. For example, if I were a manager of a business, success would depend on how well I fulfill my identity as a boss. Problems arise if I believe that I am a boss in the same way that I am a person. Sufis propose that an identity that is fixed in this way is mistaken, and that in any given situation, authentic identity is a fluid self-construct that lies on a continuum between community and individuality, between working for the good of the whole and pursuing one's self-interest. Somewhere between these two poles, there is an optimum identity in any given situation. The key to finding that balance is awareness. Only through keen, honest self-awareness can we see and weigh the pros and cons of our habitual identity in a particular situation. This enables us to nudge ourselves along this continuum to find a more beneficial identity. What constitutes a beneficial identity will, of course, depend on the situation, but generally speaking, we could say it is a sense of self that honors and encompasses both the collective and the individual. This isn't a matter of hitting a target. Rather, it is an active inquiry, a genuine seeking of what we might simply call a win-win. We may or may not find that in every situation, but this exercise of awareness itself will diminish our mistaken separation.